What is going on, guys? I hope you're having an amazing day. Today we're going to be looking at CNN host interviewing Vivek Ramaswamy. Now, this was back before Vivek was even known. I'm looking at the title right now and it says GOP 2024 candidate. That's all it says. It doesn't even have his name in the title. That's how you know I'm back. This was 5 months ago. 5 months ago, Vivek's name wasn't even spoken of like that. Now he's all over the YouTube feed. Now he's everywhere. And honestly, I'm loving it. I'm actually really appreciating that they're pushing him this much. He's very smart. Don't know what he's doing exactly, except he's doing something right. He's moved up in the polls. I think he's third place now. He's right behind DeSantis, if I'm not mistaken, as of right now. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you guys think Vivek actually has a chance to win the 2024 presidential election? Vivek has actually claimed that if he is the nominee for the Republican Party, that Joe Biden would not run against him. Basically, he's saying that the Democratic Party would choose somebody else because they're not ready for him, basically is what he's saying. They're not ready for him. What do you guys think in the comments below? Do you think that's true? Now, before we get into this video, make sure to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really helps because, as you guys know, different viewpoints sometimes won't do too well on YouTube. Now, with that being said, let's get right into this video.
Welcome back to State of the Union. I'm Caitlin Collins. It's a familiar biography. A multimillionaire businessman running for president, promising to shake up Washington. His name is not former President Trump. It's Vivek Ramaswamy. He is 37. He's using his biotech fortune to make early inroads with Republican voters, and the candidate Vivek Ramaswamy joins me now. Thank you so much for being here. You know, you're touting your outsider status as a quality, but I don't know of any president in recent history we've had that did not either hold office or was not a national figure like Trump was. So why do you think you can win?
He's him.
So look, I'm running distinctively on my vision for this country. I'm not running on my biography or my business credentials. I'm running on a vision for this country that I've articulated over the last several years. And a lot of the conservative base actually is familiar with me through the 3 books I've written, 2 of which are published, traveled the country and otherwise. But my view is we're in the middle of this national identity crisis, where if you ask most people my age, really any age, what does it mean to be an American today? You get a blank stare in response. And I think that is the vacuum at the heart of our national soul. And I think the opportunity for the GOP now is not just to complain about wokeness or gender ideology or climate ideology, but actually to go upstream and fill that black hole with a vision of American national identity that runs so deep that it dilutes these agendas to irrelevance and actually unifies us as a country. And I'm running because I believe genuinely that I'm the candidate best positioned to actually deliver national unity by reawakening that shared American identity.
Now, hold on really quick. While that is interesting, don't you guys think that Trump would have handled that question way more funnier? Like, just, you know, he like with way more charisma. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure. Oh, why do you think that you can win, President Trump? Well, because I'm Trump. You know, I'm Trump. You know, that's what he would have said. He would have said something like that. You know, very witty, very funny. Now, while I do like Vivek, and I like what he just said right there, he's very polished, which is not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. But I think he needs a bit more charisma in the sense that he just needs to use simpler words sometimes. In the sense that, you know, to connect with the everyday people. I see a lot of people right now saying that they don't like his vernacular, which is a very kind of, that's a very hating thing to say. If you ask me, like, I don't know any other word to use but hate. Like, there's a very hater type of word, you know. I don't like his vernacular. I think he's too smart. I think he sounds too good. That's why I don't like him. Except at the same time, I get kind of with it, what they mean by that. You know, with Trump, all he would have said is, I'm him. That's all he would say. Oh, I'm Trump. Come on, I'm Trump. That's how I'm going to win. Because she said, what do you think you're going to win, Vivek? Well, because I'm Vivek. I'm Vivek Ramaswamy. What do you mean? I'm a multi-billionaire who founded all of these companies. Come on, I'm me. You know, that's all he had to say. That's what Trump would have said. You know what I mean? But let's keep going. I'm just saying, I think that's a very key difference just right there at the beginning.
I want to ask you more about that platform, but you are self-funding your campaign, at least for right now. How much are you prepared to spend?
A lot.
So there's really no limit we've put on in terms of what I'm going to spend on this campaign. I've been fortunate to live the full arc of the American dream. And if there's one thing I care about advancing,
already,
it is about reviving that missing national identity in our country, where we've celebrated our diversity for so long that we forgot the ways we're really just the same. That is what I care about more than anything else. That being said, I think a lot of businessmen or history would teach self-funders make the mistake of thinking that they can just use their own money as a substitute for gaining the support of voters. To the contrary, this campaign's actually going to be lifted up by bottom-up grassroots donations. We're already off to a great start in the first few weeks on that front as well. So it'll be a combination of those things. But what it did liberate me from is many Republicans, what they do is they ring the tin can, carry a hat in hand, and ask for donors for permission to run. I was allowed to skip that step because of, you know, not only my accomplishments, but the fact that I don't want to be beholden to a Republican donor class. That's the normal gatekeeper in this process. One of the things I'm calling out.
Okay, there you go. right there. That was, he talked his stuff right there. He said, hey, essentially, I'm rich enough to where I don't have to do what the typical Republican has to do, which is essentially what Trump was like too, if I'm not mistaken. I wasn't really that old up in 2016. I was only 15 years old when Trump was first running, so I don't know exactly how he did his first election, except what I'm assuming Vivek is saying right here is, hey, I don't need all these donors, I don't need all these big wigs to fund me because I can fund myself because I have enough money for that. And the rest are just going to be like actual donations. He said grassroots donations. I don't know necessarily what that term means, except I'm just assuming it's good. Like from how he says grassroots donations, I'm assuming like donations, just like, crowdfunding kind of, which is good. That's cool.
Well, on that front, one of the things, you've been dubbed the CEO of anti-woke. You have written several of these books. You've been very vocal of your criticism of what you say is wokeism, woke religion. Can you just define how do you define woke?
Yeah, and I'm going to define it in neutral terms, not in critical terms. Being woke refers to becoming alert to invisible societal injustices, generally based on genetically inherited characteristics like race, sex, and sexual orientation, and then being called upon to act on those injustices using whatever potential legally means are necessary, including the market, to do it. That's a neutral definition that even most proponents of wokeism in the United States would agree with. Now, my criticism of this is I think that it's inherently divisive to tell us that we're nothing more than the characteristics we inherit on the day we're born. That divides us on the basis of race and sex and sexual orientation. And then when that merges with capitalism, which is what I've actually been the biggest critic of, what it does is we lose the sanctuary, the apolitical sanctuary in our economy that otherwise brings us together, whether we're black or white, even whether we're Democrat or Republican. That's one of the underappreciated reasons why capitalism has to stay apolitical. And I'm proud to say I've been the leader on leading that fight over the course of the last couple of years, and with some progress, because I think we're turning the tide where companies are realizing that they're not doing good for themselves or even doing good for society by engaging in these fraught political and social questions. Yeah. And I think we're beginning to see that change of the tide.
So really quick, what he just said right there was actually amazing. See, this is that double-edged sword I was talking about at the beginning. With the vernacular, Trump would not have been able to explain wokeness like that. He would not have been able to articulate his stances to that degree. Now, like I said at the beginning, a lot of people don't necessarily like that about Vivek, but I actually personally like that about Vivek. I didn't really make that clear at the beginning. I like that part about Vivek, especially when it comes to like the more philosophical ideas of politics. You know what I mean? And this host actually implied at the beginning, hey, this is just another Trump. Remember, she said, oh, this is actually not Trump. I know you guys recognize this MO, but this is not Trump. His name is Vivek Ramaswamy, another GOP candidate. So basically what she was trying to imply right there is that he's just like a Trump 2.0. And what I'm saying right now to you guys out there, I think that he's Trump, but on steroids, personally. I think he could be a bit more lax on the words sometimes when he doesn't really need to use them that much, except in terms of like, things like that, where he just did right there, like define wokeism and all of that stuff. He's amazing. He's doing a great job. Don't you guys think? In the comments below, what do you guys think? I think he's doing an amazing job.
You have a lot of positions on the company's aspect. I want to get to that. But when it comes to this, is this your platform, would you argue? Because when people talk about inflation and what they're paying at the grocery store, do you really think that is the message that appeals to voters right now?
Yes.
Well, that's the message I've been advancing for the last 3 years. But now we're taking this to the next level and running for the presidency. We're actually running to deliver unity to the country. It's much bigger than that. One of the core aspects of my platform is actually unleashing the American economy itself. There's this false debate, even within the GOP, between spending cuts or between raising taxes between Democrats and Republicans. I think we have forgotten the biggest ingredient to actually deliver us from our problems. That is GDP growth itself. GDP growth was over 4% in this country until the early 70s. It's been less than 2.5% ever since. I think we need to unleash the American animal inside the heart of the American economy. And so that's why I'm taking aim at certain opponents or certain anti-growth measures. I think we find a lot of that in the climate change policies in this country. That's why I've been as focused as I have on actually unleashing not only American energy, but the American economy overall. But to answer your question, no, this is about something bigger. This is about reviving a missing national identity, and that's the missing ingredient to both unleashing our economy, as well as, and this is a core part of my campaign, taking on the actual foreign policy challenges that we face on the global stage. Number one is communist China, and I'm leading the way in this race in calling for a declaration of independence from China, because the key difference today is, unlike the USSR in the last century, we never depended on the Soviet Union for the shoes on our feet or the phones in our pockets. That is the case today. I think it's the number one external threat we face. And so I'm actually delivering a vision of national identity that hopefully allows us to make the short-run sacrifices we'll need to on the global stage to actually win as a country over the long run.
China's
Okay, hold on really quick before she keeps, rambling on. I have to say this. What do you guys think? What is your perspective on this? You as the voters, I'm a voter too. Do you guys think that the internal problems are more important than the external problems? What do you guys think? He's saying that China is the biggest external problem out there. But what are you guys' minds on? Is your minds on the internal problems in terms of the DOJ and all of that stuff just prosecuting Trump, with all these indictments, a civil war like coming upon us? Possibly, I'm not saying that, YouTube not implying that, just saying no, I heard ramblings of that. So what do you guys really think the actual main problem for America is right now? Is it the inside of America, the culture of America right now, or is it the external threats? I think it's a combination of both. I really think that China is looking at us and saying, hey, look at their culture right now. Look at the TikTok that we send them and not us, up in China. China sends us like these trash TikToks, all of this stuff that we look at, consume. I see a lot of kids consuming it. I see a lot of adults consuming it. It's really bad. And then look what they have over there. They have learning tools on TikTok and all of that stuff like that. So even from the culture, China is influencing our culture too. So what do you guys think? I'm very curious. I just want to know you guys' thoughts on that. But with that being said, let's keep going.
It's a major issue. We'll get to that in a moment. But do you consider yourself a conservative? How would you define that?
Yeah.
I do consider myself a conservative, but I don't believe that the defining political debate in this country is between Republicans and Democrats. I think it is between those who are fundamentally pro-American, whether you believe in the ideals that set this nation into motion, from free speech and open debate to meritocracy to self-governance over aristocracy. Do you believe in those ideals, or are you anti-American? Do you actually wish to apologize for a nation whose existence is pinned to those ideals? And if you divide it up that way, I think it's actually an 80-20 split in this country. It's not just 50-50. And I think that sets up for a potential landslide election in 2024. Frankly, part of my motivation to run is to deliver that, because I think that's the single most unifying thing we could get out of this country, just like a 1980 or 1984 style, Reagan style victory as well. So
Given
that's
what
the way I
you've
look
said,
at it.
Wait, I just caught on. How far is this man thinking into the future? What do you guys? Okay, hold on, wait. I keep asking you guys like questions. My bad. Except, basically, what I'm saying is he's thinking a lot into the future right now. He's saying, hey, I think there's not a Democrat-Republican, split. There's a anti-American, pro-American split. And 80% of Americans are pro-American, and that 20% is like the only ones that, we have to worry about, that 20% anti-American, which is very true. It's a very minority of people that are not proud to be American. I know it seems like a lot on TikTok, on all of these social medias, on YouTube and all that stuff, woke student bashes, all of this stuff like that, except it is true that it's still very minute of people. 20% of people are probably anti-American. He's right. So he's trying to aim for that 80% of people that are pro-American. And what I'm saying is, how far has this man thought into the future? I didn't even know that numbers like that existed. How did he get those numbers that 20% are a minority, like it's a minority, like that 20% is a minority of people that don't like America, that are not proud to be Americans? I'm curious as to how he got that number. But I just like how far he's thinking into the future. I just realized that right now. That's my first time realizing that he actually did those numbers. That's cool.
About limited government, what you were just talking there about corporations being apolitical. Do you agree with what Florida Governor Ron DeSantis did with Disney after they spoke out about his education bill?
I would have handled that situation a little bit differently. And I think we need to be actually precise about what the real drivers are of corporate wokeism. One of the underappreciated realities is that Disney's largest shareholders are BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard. Indeed, the three institutions that promote ESG, environmental and social agendas in corporate America's boardrooms, that are the largest shareholders of most public American companies. And what they do is they set a cultural tone that causes these companies to behave in politicized ways from their boardrooms on down. That's a problem that needs to be fixed through the market, and I don't really believe in governments, whether it's on the left or on the right. And you see this on the left, too, using the bully pulpit as a way to drive corporate change. I think the right way to drive corporate change is actually to do it through the root cause itself. And in this case, a lot of that's top-down, driven by the ESG movement in capital markets and in corporate America's boardrooms.
Oh, okay. That's the end of that video. My bad, guys. Except, okay, so right there. So for the backstory, if you guys don't know, I actually did a video about a week ago on Vivek. It was Vivek against Chuck Todd. In that video, I said I disagree with what DeSantis did because I don't like government overreach. as most Republicans don't. Except up in the comment section, a lot of you guys were saying, "Hey, I got that wrong. I should have did a bit more research on it," which was true. And apparently, like Disney did like a lot of overreach themselves. It wasn't that DeSantis was just overreaching with the government. It was like a lot of other stuff into play that I'm not going to get into right now because honestly, we already went through that whole conversation up in the comments with a couple of people I did that. But with that being said, if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. Peace.